Now let's observe this reaction. MnO2 plus 4HCl to give you MnCl2 plus 2H2O plus Cl2. What is happening to magnesium oxide? Magnesium oxide is changing to Mn magnesium chloride. And here HCl is getting converted to chlorine. Observe the first one when MnO2 is becoming Mn. There is a loss of oxygen. And we know a loss of oxygen means reduction. So this is a reduction reaction. MnO2 undergoes reduction. But when it comes to HCl converting into Cl2, and you observe there is here also a loss, but there is a loss of hydrogen. And we know a loss of hydrogen means reduction, is oxidation, not reduction. So we rub this out and we will write here it is oxidation. So now we see that HCl gets oxidized. Why does HCl get oxidized? Because HCl becomes Cl2 and it loses hydrogen. Well, when we go to MnO2, we see MnO2 we say is reduced. Why is it reduced? Because MnO2 turns into MnCl2 and in the process it has lost oxygen. So it undergoes a reduction. In the next equation, we see that H2S becomes sulfur and the chlorine becomes HCl. So when H2S turns into sulfur, there if you notice H2S becomes S. So there is a loss of, here there is a loss of hydrogen. And the loss of hydrogen is oxidation. So here I can say H2S is oxidized. Why do I say it is oxidized? Because H2S has turned into S, and in doing so it has lost hydrogen, and loss of hydrogen is oxidation. So I say H2S has undergone oxidation. When it comes to Cl2, I see that Cl2 chlorine becomes HCl. It had gained hydrogen, and gain of hydrogen is reduction. So here the Cl2 becomes HCl, and in doing so it has gained hydrogen. So I can say Cl2 chlorine has reduced because it had gained hydrogen. Now look up in this case. Magnesium oxide with carbon to give you carbon oxide plus magnesium. So magnesium oxide changes to Mg, and in doing so there is a loss of oxygen. And we know a loss of oxygen means there is reduction. In the second case, carbon becomes CO. So if carbon becomes CO, carbon has gained oxygen and hence it has become carbon monoxide. And gain of oxygen is called oxidation. So here we will see that carbon has oxidized. The substance oxidized is carbon because C has become CO and there's been a gain of oxygen. And when it comes to Mg, MgO, magnesium becomes Mg and it has lost oxygen. So we can say magnesium oxide is reduced. The substance reduced is magnesium oxide. In this next case, Have you seen Fe2O3 plus CO to give you Fe plus carbon dioxide? So Fe2O3 ferric oxide becomes iron Fe. So Fe2O3, it loses oxygen in this case, and loss of oxygen is reduction. So it undergoes a reduction. But when it comes to CO, carbon monoxide becomes carbon dioxide. It had one carbon, now it has got two carbons as carbon dioxide. So it has gained oxygen, and the gain of oxygen is oxidation. So if I were to ask you which is the substance oxidized, you will say substance oxidized equal to carbon monoxide. Why? Because it gains oxygen. The CO becomes CO2. And next is substance reduced will be Fe2O3. Why Fe2O3? Because the Fe2O3 has become Fe. It has lost oxygen, so we say it has undergone reduction. In the next reaction, we see that H2S becomes S. That means there is a loss of hydrogen, and a loss of hydrogen is oxidation. Here SO2 becomes S here. So when SO2 becomes S, it has lost oxygen, and loss of oxygen is reduction. So let's get back here. So we'll say H2S is oxidized. Again, why it has oxidized? Why do I say it is oxidized? Because H2S has become S. There is a loss of hydrogen. Loss of hydrogen is oxidation. And the substance reduced will be SO2. SO2 is reduced. Why do I say it is reduced? Because SO2 becomes S, and in doing so it has lost oxygen, and loss of oxygen is called reduction. Here again we have another reaction, and if you see up here, H2S now becomes S, and in doing so it has lost hydrogen, and if it has lost hydrogen, we can say it has undergone reduction, and chlorine becomes HCl. For chlorine to become HCl, it would have gained hydrogen, and the gain of hydrogen is called reduction. In the earlier case, there was a mistake. The loss of hydrogen, remember, is oxidation. So H2S undergoes oxidation because there is loss of hydrogen, and we can say chlorine undergoes reduction because there is a gain of hydrogen.